Hi, everybody. It's Val Evans, and I'm here with Amy J. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
We have got quite a packed show tonight. We're doing the week in review, and a lot of news this week. So much has come out about certain cases. We can't cover everything, so we just picked three. And hope you guys are doing great tonight. Let's see, who do we have? We've got a few on tonight, and just wanted to say hi first. And hi, Angel. And as we wait for everybody to get on, I should probably just tell you about my new special. And I am taking quite a few points off, or percentage points off of my reading. And it's 129. So I just posted it. You can look in the description box and get more information. Hi, Mimi, and hello, Grace. Angel says she actually made it. It's funny. It's like a lot of people come in, they see us live, and it's like the last 10 minutes. So I'm glad you guys could come on. And I just put out the advertisement for it. So I'm glad you guys could hop on. Ray's here. How are you? And thank you, everyone, too, who they're coming on to watch us after the live. We really appreciate that. And if you could hit the subscribe button and the like button, and people are not getting their notifications. So if you could just hit the bell, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Hi, Rochelle. Cup of Color is here. Hillary's here. Crystal. We have got a gang. So I think we're ready.
All right.
I started with the charts last time, and then I waited for the cards, but that was a mistake. Oh no, they wanted to hear from Amy. I will not make that mistake again.
Well, they think they do anyway.
So I've got a couple of comments first on, I guess we should just jump right into it, huh?
Let's
Our
go.
being is here, and I guess what I'll do is I'll just make a couple of points on the first case. We're going to talk about Gwyneth, and she had a big win. We're going to actually look at her solar chart. When I do charts, I do a lot of solar charts. I read them for the year, and I'm always trying to explain to people like, it looks like a challenging year, but at the end, it's a success. So her chart is the perfect example of that. So I've got that for you. And thank you, Summer Rae. Hello, Willow. Yes, I know. YouTube went through a phase of unsubscribing me from channels. I couldn't figure that out. I was like, come on, people. I need all the subscribers I can get. I mean, we're only at, what, 8,000? Oh, wow. Somebody did not get a notification. Uncut Funk. Oh my God, some of these names. Val, thank you so much for reading my chart the other day. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Willow, for saying that. I have had so much fun reading charts. And actually, before we start, Amy, tell us what you were saying earlier about March, because I've had so many people call me. Of course, it must have been that special too. During March, I mean, it was a crazy month, wasn't it?
Oh, it was an incredible month, but it was crazy. The energies were really strong. It felt like if you understand like the veil being thin, like there was a lot of experiences that were coming up that maybe we've never had before. And there were opportunities and this kind of thing. So March was packed full of energy. And sometimes it went up and down, up and down. So sometimes you felt like you're on a high and then you might get kicked back down. But it was so packed with energy. So perfect time to get a reading. But April would be even better for you, Val, because April's going to settle, and all the energies that March brought in, we're now going to be able to it'll be more mutable, and we might be able to do more with that energy that we experienced in March. We got a lot of stuff coming into us. Now we're ready to take energetically some action. So April would be a perfect month to kind of get a reading and find out where am I going from here.
Yes, yes, except
Definitely.
don't do anything new because we're almost into Mercury retrograde. So it'll be interesting as all these planets are going forward. Mercury's going backwards,
Yeah.
and we already had like an earthquake in San Diego, and hope everybody's okay.
Did that
Uh,
just happen today?
it was a couple of days ago, and
How did I miss that?
yeah, it. Let me tell you, April is going to be interesting. We've got a lot going on. Um, I don't know what to think yet. Of course, it's gonna depend on your chart,
Mhm.
but, Grace and I, we were talking to each other yesterday, and we were like Grace is, my astrology partner, and, we were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because guess what? Saturn is also on, it just so happens, my sun, partile, meaning exactly the exact degree of my
Mm.
sun. So I'm just like praying to Jesus right now, or just praying. My one girlfriend said, "Don't say God or Jesus, just say the universe. It's safer." I was like, "Okay, I'll just say the
The
universe,
divine, the universe.
whatever." Praying to somebody, the angels.
There you go.
Yes, Grace is into the Valo trial. I know, and I'll tell you why everybody's talking about it. Even my clients, that
Mm.
have been they were like, I'm just one of the clients was actually, around the courthouse when they called me. So Idaho has some energy right now, and,
Mm.
but the thing is, when it comes to cases that have kids, you won't see me doing that many. It's very hard for me to do that. What
Yeah,
do you say? It's a different kind of energy, I think.
it
Um,
is. I agree with you on that.
mhm.
It's a lot harder.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Summer Rae. Hi, Tammy. Tammy made it. Okay, so tell me real quick, because I talk about my readings. When you have a reading, what do you do? What's the process when somebody emails you and says, "I'd like a reading, Amy"?
Well, I read energy, and so when I'm doing a reading, it's more about what's going on with them energetically at that time. I'm not so much that predictive type of
Okay.
reading, and I do mediumship. I also tie into uh, the higher self of people that are around them that may still be on, still living.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I was reading this one lady and I'm going on, and she goes, "Oh, I think that's my husband." And I'm saying all this stuff, and she goes,
Oh my
"But
god.
he's not dead yet." And I'm like, "Oh," it's like,
Oh,
okay, well, I'm still picking up his energy. So that's how it kind of happens for me
ah, okay.
energetically. What's going on with
Mhm,
you right now? And
mhm.
then how to move forward. And then of course if your loved ones come through, your guides come through, because I get guides coming through as well,
Oh,
then I can give you the information from that as well. But I don't do a lot of like, okay, here's the lottery numbers, go play this, or I see
oh,
this
come
man
on.
coming in your, walking through the door, you're forever or anything like that. That's
Yes.
not really how I work. So,
Okay. Well, we are going to thank you for that, and I'm gonna actually give your information to everyone in my description as I did the last show, and I guess what we'll do is we'll just kick it off with Gwyneth.
all right.
Gwynny, and, this was an interesting one, and I was interested, as some of you were, with, the trial chart. So what you're going to do is, I mean, there's tons of trial charts. There's so many timestamps. There's, lots of court paperwork and emails from lawyers that you could use to draw a chart. But in this case, I used the moment she waltzed into court,
Ooh.
and that was one of the days. I don't think that was the first day with her in the black. She's in the white the first day, and she is. This is part of her chart, and you want to look at the ninth house because the ninth house is the court. And you see also in the ninth house people who tend to be lucky because the ninth house is a good house. The sixth, the eighth, and the 12th houses are the bad luck houses in a trial chart. So the reason she's the sun is because the ascendant is in Leo. We've seen a couple of charts with the ascendant in Leo where it means somebody's blonde or somebody has the name with maybe SON or SEN, meaning sun, because sun is the lord of Leo, and it also means a sun. So it's funny how that all connects. But there's somebody right around her, and that's Black Moon Lilith there. And so it usually shows a person. And so in this case, it might be another person with the last name of Sun, or who might have blonde hair. In this case, it was, I believe his name was Terry Sanderson. So you've got him right there. And that's the court table. The court table is the ascendant. So that was interesting. It's funny because, when you're looking at a chart, you might pull a card. Have you ever pulled a card after a trial, Amy? Like, would you would we have to ask a
Yeah.
question or something? Or maybe a card to actually represent what was going on in this court?
Okay, I can do that. I was reading the comments, sorry.
It's okay. Trina, thank you so much.
I have to agree with Angel on that one. I didn't, for her to go and do a televised trial, but I feel like she was, she's like, oh no, I just felt like she wasn't going to make it easy on, is the Sanderson guy, is that who took her to court? I didn't know this one.
Yes, we've got a lot more details too that I'm going to tell you about in a second.
And that's what I feel like. She was like, no, I'm just not going to, hand it over to you, settle. I just feel like there wasn't settling, she's like, no. But let me see. What was the question again? We were going to ask about just kind of the energy that
I guess we know what the motive was, but what would the card say? What would that be a good one? Because we know what the motive was. Like, maybe what was something we didn't know about the trial? How about that actually happened?
Well, looks pretty good for her part here. The Hanged Man. Can you see that?
Yes.
So that's seeing something from a different perspective.
Oh my God, that's exactly what happened. There was a man that basically got hanged. That is so interesting.
True. And she showed him a different perspective.
Mhm.
I really feel like she's like, no, but she was going to be victorious because she got the 6 of Wands. So I think she almost knew that was going to happen because and the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Swords is, is like, yeah, she was not having any of it. And that's what I feel like. That's why she agreed to do the televised thing. And that's why she didn't agree to settle. She's like, no, she was very strong.
Wow.
It feels like.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we're looking at the trial chart, and we're going to look at the sun, which is her. She's in the 9th. Okay. And then what's her
last card? 10 of Cups. Exactly what she wanted. She got last card.
That is amazing. Wow. I just love it. Like if we got the Tower, it wouldn't have made sense. I mean, I guess you could apply it to, the loser, but
yeah. But we were looking at her energy, and she just was very strong and very confident, I believe.
Yes. Well, what's interesting is you look across the chart to the descendant, and that is Aquarius. And Aquarius rules the eyes. So isn't it interesting that her opponent is an optometrist? And he actually makes a lot of money too. And so what's also interesting too is, and so you would look at the descendant and you'd look at Saturn or Uranus. Saturn might be the traditional ruler. Sometimes to be safe, I just look at the traditional ruler, which is the ruler we knew about much longer than we knew about Uranus. But what is Saturn? It's in the 8th house. It's in a bad luck house. And let me go back one. Let's see here. Oops, can I do this?
That's amazing that he was an optometrist.
I know.
Just blows my mind how the
Well,
chart can tell you that.
I know. And so what we also look for, we look at the ninth for the court and also what's in the headlines. Okay. And so the headlines are that very first day, because I keep track of celebrity trials. I don't know. I'm interested in them. And I'm also interested in what the media decides is important that day. And wouldn't you know it, everybody was talking about her glasses. They were talking about how they were Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. And so, what is in the ninth house there is Mercury. And Mercury is reporters, lots of reporters around Gwyneth, Sun. And Mercury can also represent glasses. So, something small. And but Sun in Aries also would represent that she was pretty pissed off.
Mm.
And Sun in Aries is good. It's very fiery, and she is going to win. And guess what? When you have Aries, and I don't know if you've noticed this in the past month, we've got a lot of planets going through Aries, and it means that things are fast. So this was, I believe, an 8-week trial. Everything seemed to happen very fast. I had for myself, I had a project, somebody wanted to work on it, and it was really an exciting project that came in March. And they were like, well, we're going to need to start in a few weeks. And I was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe how fast they were just going to start. So that's really the Aries energy. So did you feel like that at all this month?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very fast energy, very quick.
Yeah.
You know, what do they call the Aries that like the snap, the spark, very sparky.
Yes. And you have a new grandchild.
I
So
do.
everything is so new and exciting for you. So
Yes.
congratulations. And your
Thank
birthday
you.
is coming up too.
Yes.
So
I got a
lots of stuff
birthday
going
too.
on for you.
Yes.
But with a ninth house, we also switch for a second. We switch hats and we look at what the newspapers are saying. So the ninth house is going, when there's always like a celebrity trial, there's always a lot of planets in the ninth house. And you can see what they're talking about. You can see, they're going to be talking about the lawyer. Jupiter's right there. Chiron is interesting. It shows wounds. Talking about who was hurt in this trial, and then what is interesting, what really, it shocked a lot of people, was it was Neptune related. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I am going to let's see. I guess that's a good chart. Okay. So do you see that Neptune there is squaring Mars? And it's blocking something. And what it shows is that Gwyneth has photos, okay? And if you look at all the minor aspects, you can actually see that she was given photographs. And let's see, shoot, I didn't put that one in here, but there's an aspect that shows that she has photographs of him. Okay, here we go. Can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Okay. You see how there's a blue line here, there's a trine, and this is also representing the guy who's sitting near her and who might have secretive motives. In crime charts, when it's not a trial chart, it's one of the aspects of the killer. But here, she's facing off with him, but she has his photos. That's what the blue line is. That was her secret. That was the secret that she kept, and Neptune is secrets. So I thought it was really interesting there. And then with
So she had photos. Was he claiming an injury? Because I didn't really watch it real close.
Thank you.
I'm assuming he was.
I should probably explain that. Yes. So what happened, he was claiming that he was injured by her on the ski slope, on a very, very fancy ski slope in Park City, Utah. And And so he wanted to sue her. He tried to sue her for 3 million, but the judge wouldn't let him. So he had to reduce the amount to 300,000. And so, so look at the top there at the 10th house. It shows accident, and it shows a woman there, Venus. Look at how it trines the second house, a rich woman. Okay. And then what we also look at in crime charts, this symbol here representing him, it is squaring the North Node. And so the North Node can mean that he's trying to deceive, but he's not able to. And so these photos, which she pulled out in the last hours, I should say her attorney did, basically showed how he traveled the world for months after he claimed that he had a brain injury. So, and there you go with Aries. A lot was being said about different parts of his body, but the brain was coming out, and how he couldn't recover. But they were like, dude, you're in Machu Picchu, you're in Paris here, and it was just, everybody was like, oh my God, why can't I have his life? So anyway, that was really what came from this crime or this trial chart. Were you going to say something?
No, I just think it's fascinating that all those pieces are in there.
I
You
know.
know,
And we're going to see.
he should have checked with you before he went to trial. Because he probably would have just saved himself some grief.
I would. Did I spell optometrist right? I hope I did. I would never have done that to poor Gwyneth. She's in my generation, so it would never happen. So anyway, yeah, the Uranus is interesting too, because that's an accident. So also can show a famous divorced woman, which is Gwyneth too. So another example of how other planets can show, Taurus is money. So, maybe I don't like that North Node in there. It kind of shows, I don't know, maybe not all of the truth was told, but I don't know. It certainly shows that he's trying to get to an alibi. Remember, North Node represents alibi. So she's in the 10th house and she's got an alibi. And it seems to work. The other thing too that you saw in this chart was they had a really cool reenactment using technology. So that was really in the news. Everybody was talking about it, how they had these, it was like the video game or whatever, and they showed her and how it would have looked if he had plowed into her. One more thing too. Remember, Sun is Gwyneth and it sextiles Pluto, and Pluto means sex. And it means like a sexual assault. So that's the other thing that she was saying. She thought when she was talking on the stand, she thought that he was coming up from behind her and trying to do something to her. So she was talking about that, and it seemed to have worked for her. There's a nice sextile there. So, that's what I take from that. So I'm going to go to the next one. This is her solar chart, by the way. I'll just cover this real quick, and let me just take a couple of questions or comments. I know it is. Thanks, Angel. Okay. Oh, we're getting some Bryan Kohberger questions, which I'm going to answer. Yes, exactly, Angel. It showed that Gwyneth was telling the truth. She's rich. They were making a lot of fun of her. And, when people get bullied, I don't know. I feel for them. I don't care how wealthy and famous they are. It's not right.
I love that. I didn't think of it in that context, but it's so true. He was trying to bully her and she wasn't having it.
Oh, okay. Angel was following it. Someone said his daughter was videoing it on his phone and got the collision on the phone. So they deleted it. Yes. And remember they had somebody else too. Some guy just went in and pulled conversations between a private group of the plaintiff, and his lawyers and all the lawyers were like, how did you do that? And he was like, it was easy. I don't know how easy it was, but Uranus, which is technology, was in that that chart. So another thing, it was like Uranus was made, or technology was made famous. When you look at moon is always fame. So if you add moon to Jupiter, which it's right next to, big time famous. If you add Pluto to moon, it's like Beyonce famous. It's like everyone's obsessed with you.
Well, could them deleting that be part of that North Node alibi trying to hide it? Because that apparently they deleted it because it didn't, it showed the truth.
Yes, let me
What
see.
they were saying.
Yeah, so she has a good, I mean, she's in the 10th
Or is
house.
that her alibi?
Yeah, she's open.
Okay.
She is out in the open. She's telling her alibi, and it's successful. You know, we always look at success as part of fortune, which is down here, little
Yes.
cross. And so her alibi is checking out.
Okay.
It's good. And so his alibi, which is North Node, there's a square to it. Sanders' sun, SON, being Leo, and his alibi is not checking out. So, and then Uranus, you know, that's technology. And that's the other thing that went against him. You can see that red line, that square, is that Uranus technology squaring Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is like sneaky behind the scenes, trying to do stuff. And it's like,
Sinister.
this famous divorced woman says, I don't think so. So that's pretty interesting. And then also, if this is his planet, Black Moon Lilith, and it's opposing a planet in the 6th house is the court, how it's going to end, they say. So, you know, having an opposition with a 6th house planet is not good for Sanderson. So we're going to see that in the trial, the hearing chart for Kohberger. We see a lot of Leo. We're going to see some blonde people. The lawyers are blonde. It's going to be a different chart, of course, but there will be similar themes. And you should check that out too. We did a show on that one a couple of shows ago. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at, I spelled Gwyneth's name wrong that time. Oh, well, you saw I spelled it with the N the last time. Anyway, here we go. It's right here. Anyway, this is her solar chart. So here is a perfect example. Like if you're in a court case or something and you're looking at your solar chart and you want to know, how's it going to go? It's a great predictive tool. A lot of astrologers use your birth chart over your solar chart, which is a great way to do it. I look at solar only because it just gives me really good detail. And so one of the things that was reported on ad nauseum was clothing. So it's interesting that in the 6th house, which is clothing, the 6th house is Virgo, and then it's in Virgo. People are talking about, you can see Mercury in there, what people are talking about that year and what you might be thinking and talking about. So I think she had, like, every time she went to court, there were people talking about her clothing and where she got it and all this good stuff. She had the Row coat, which was $5,000 when she walked in. And I mean, it was amazing the amount of press she got for clothing. So what happened though, now this year, she is feeling like a Taurus. Okay, that's in your solar chart, what you're feeling like, what you have around you. And being in Taurus is like wealthy, you know, it is, you know, there are wealthy people around you. Of course, that probably happens to her every year, but she's going to feel maybe more organic this year. Maybe she's going to put out more Taurus related products. But anyway, her Venus is in the 6th house. That shows that's where she is. So we look to that planet for the solar year. And so if this was like a reading, I would be like, okay, Gwyneth, well, here's the good news. Here's the bad news. The bad news is you got a lot of hidden enemies in that 12th house, but it doesn't look like they're going to be successful because part of fortune is right there with the rest of your hidden enemies. And it shows that they're not going to be successful. So that's good news. But it does show that you're going to be in some kind of battle of some sort because of that opposition. The good news, though, is it seems like your battle is going to make a lot of money or something, because you've got Venus, which is you. Mercury is clothing, and people are talking about you, and you're talking about clothing and Virgo related things. But then there's a trine to Pluto. And so when you have a Venus trine to Pluto, that means you're making a ton of money. And the 10th house is your career too. So what was everybody doing? They were going to her website. They were going to everybody's website trying to figure out, and what she was wearing. And so it was actually good press for her. So that's kind of an example. When you look at your solar chart and you see your moon and there's a square, though, it's Moon in Scorpio, revenge. She wants to get revenge, but she feels like she really can't. I mean, she sued the guy for $1, so it's not like she got a lot of revenge. And then Moon also shows your emotional state too. So there's probably a lot of ups and downs, just feeling upset, and not wanting the publicity. Remember, Moon is public, and it's also fame. So this is fame that she didn't want, and that's the square. So anyway, I've talked a lot about that. And then we're going to move on to the next one, which is Trump. And what do you think about this? We are going to be seeing, it's going to be quite a week this week.
Look at that huge triangle.
I know.
Huge.
It's scary. It's scary. Yes, she already did win, but we just wanted to look at her. We wanted to look at her solar chart to see what we could see. And it's kind of like, it's something I wanted to mention because a lot of people get nervous with their solar chart and they're like, oh my God, it looks awful. But in the end, she prevailed. So that was a good thing. And let's see. Okay, so I know we're going to get to Bryan Kohberger. We're going to. Yes. Summer Rae, you were saying, I don't think Val wants to touch Summer Wells. Yeah, I haven't wanted to. And also I feel like a lot of people have already, I mean, God, hundreds, if not thousands of people have already focused on her. I mean, I don't think I'm going to really come up with that one clue that nobody else saw. Maybe I will. I don't know. But it's possible. It's possible. We'll see.
I'm going to say hello to my friend Kitty. She just joined us.
Oh, great. Trina was like, I just found her shoe. And I'm like, oh my God, you found my shoe. Where is it? It's the show. Thank you. Sorry, I read that wrong. And okay. So yeah. And Siri J, I agree, Val. I didn't like all the backlash she was getting because she's an actress and rich. It did feel like bullying. Let's see. Yeah, Angel, I had forgotten about Gwyneth for a while, so maybe this fiasco will kickstart her appeal in public. Well, she doesn't have to appeal to the public, I see. Yeah. Okay. So, RVing saying they just won't leave Trump alone. And hi, Shelly. How are you? And did I put up Kitty? There's Kitty.
Oh, there she
is. So yeah, there are a lot of people who still love Trump. There are people who never loved Trump. There are people who loved him and now think, what was I thinking? So, there's going to be
a mixed bag out there.
I look at Trump like I would look at any other potential criminal. And that is, I don't hate him. I do not, I see him as a force of energy. So, when you get really personal and you want to take someone down personally, I just feel like it's a waste of time. I do hope justice prevails because that is important, if a crime was committed. So should we look at maybe a card first on and can I just say, before you do that,
all right,
when it was announced that he would be indicted, it was void of course moon. So what can that mean? It can mean they might reschedule it, or something isn't going to work that they wanted to work. Now, I'm not sure if that's the actual timestamp of the indictment. It could have just been the announcement, but I don't know. So,
Nice.
yes, exactly, Jonica.
So we're just going to look at it's supposed to be Tuesday. He's supposed to turn himself in. Is that the date you have on here?
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday and 2:40. Is it 2:45? I can't remember it's a very convenient time for a wealthy man. We don't want to get up too early for this case. But yes, do you need the actual time?
No.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to make sure that's what we were asking the question on.
Okay. Yes.
So just what is okay. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to pull some more. So the first card that came up was the patience and planning, but it's in the I just asked about the energy on that day, but it's inverted.
Okay.
It's inverted. So I feel like that feels to me like there has been a lot of patience and a lot of planning, but I don't feel necessarily strong about that it's inverted. You know what I mean? So I'm going to pull some cards on that.
Okay.
On that energy. So, because there has been a lot of planning and there's been a lot of patience. Some people have been patiently waiting. Oh, the Judgment card also came up upside down.
Oh, wow. Upside down. So what do you think of that?
So inverted.
Inverted.
Yeah, well, that just means upside down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to clarify that. I'm going to pull a few more cards because a couple of them fell out and they're all inverted. And this is the Fool, which the Fool means new beginnings.
New beginnings, yes.
New beginnings. So, but it's upside down again. And then laying your burdens down, the 10 of Wands. Okay, so this is where you've got a lot of burdens. You're carrying a lot on you. But I don't feel like this is, I mean, I do feel like this is him, but I also feel like
that's an interesting card. Can I say
there's
that?
a lot of burdens on
there's a lot of
DA, you know, that's trying to bring all this stuff about. So let me get some clarification on that.
I think I know what this is saying, but I'm going to wait.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go into I'm going to try to go into his energy on that day, what he is thinking.
Okay.
Oh, wow. A lot of that stuff. Or what exactly? Give me some more information on patience and planning here. Okay. All right. Whoa. Okay. Oh. Okay, this is interesting. Okay. So we have the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is, and it was upright.
Okay.
But the Hierophant also means just having everything you need within you.
Okay, it's in the light. So do it a little closer. Do it
Okay.
a little closer. And put it up. Yeah. Oh, okay, I can see it now. Okay.
Oops, over a little. No,
and it looks like stairs. There's stairs.
There are stairs. There are stairs, and there's a bunch of light at the top.
Yes.
Weird because I'm in I'm over to the side there.
Yeah, I see it.
Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the Hierophant is that person that has, you know, everything all figured out. Everything he's got, he needs.
And the person's laughing, right?
Oh yeah, very joyful, very happy with everything that's happening.
I think it's Trump. But
I got the 3 of Swords. So I don't know.
You know what that means? 3 of Swords is what you get when somebody's having an affair. So it's it's stormy. That's stormy talking right there. So that's interesting.
Okay. Perfect. And you know what the funny thing about it is? It's a very stormy looking card. Oh. Like weather-wise. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
The trees are blowing around. There's birds.
Oh, my God.
It's just a very storm and dark looking card. So
I almost think they might like that. That could be divorce. That could be divorce, like where the heart is broken and stuff. I hope, I don't want anybody to get a divorce. I don't, that wouldn't be right. But Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
should I
Huh?
look at the chart for a sec?
Yes.
Well, interesting how this chart, which is the time that Trump is due in court this week, um, it's kind of a little bit like Gwyneth's. Look
Mm.
at how the sun is in the ninth
Oh,
and
yeah.
how the ninth house is a good house. So, okay, I don't know how you feel about that. That looks like success on one hand. However, it's squaring point of fortune in the sixth. So it does not look like Trump is going to have too much success here. And it could be just that he wants to clear his name and he can't because the trial itself is canceled and they have to reschedule it. That's a possibility. But
Oh.
Sun is also there's somebody hidden in there in the 12th house. This is somebody behind the scenes who is helping him. Okay. Um, 9 degrees is the court. So maybe someone in the court is pro Trump. So that's a possibility that he could be getting some kind of assistance there. And then again, you've got Uranus, which is technology. And we might be seeing some type of communications, some type of evidence. Uranus is evidence, and it looks like it's all going to be good. Like Venus too could mean stormy, but really
Mhm.
the stormy would probably be Neptune in the eighth. So I don't really see much for her. And the eighth house isn't a good house. But
Mm.
you do see Venus there, which is a woman, and she's famous, trine moon, and she is successful. And she's definitely successful now because a lot of people are ordering stormy merchandise. But so I think that triangle is probably stormy. And it's also the prosecutor because what is the prosecutor? The prosecutor is the Lord of the MC, which is Venus, also on the top of that grand trine or blue triangle. So
Mhm.
everything looks really good, I think, for the
Yeah.
prosecution, but there is an except this. Somebody comes in from behind the scenes
Mm.
and messes with the program a little bit. What do you think?
Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't know. Let me put some. Yeah, I do think the Hierophant was him. He
Yeah.
feels like he's got it in the bag.
He's at the bottom of the stairs and he's laughing. Like he's at the
You
bottom.
know, and I mean, you can't even you don't even need the cards for that because he
Exactly.
has been very successful in doing pretty much getting what he's wanted, and
Mhm.
there's no judgment in that. That's
No.
just the
Yes.
truth. Um,
Yeah, we try not to get political. I've
no,
seen
not at all. But and there's been a lot of planning and a lot of that kind of stuff. But so, what were you saying? You think that there's someone that's kind of hidden?
Yes, that's a good question. Who is that person? I think it might be somebody, in the court, somebody who is helping him somehow, maybe giving him the 411 on what's
Mm.
going on, what stuff that he shouldn't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to get political either. So I'm just going to ask, does he have someone helping him? And I'm going to use these cards. I'm going to ask that in the true sense of the tarot. A lot of times I read them as oracle cards.
Mhm.
And so I just want people to understand that they might have a different interpretation of it, and that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask right now, does he have someone helping him? But I'm going to use that as the true tarot meaning, depending on the card. Oh,
You know,
geez. Okay,
oh,
I'm going to draw another one. Well, because typically this means no, he doesn't have someone behind the scenes, but it's also the death card and it was also inverted. So
oh
I
my God.
sometimes when they're inverted, when I'm asking yes or no, I kind of feel like that's a maybe. It's not a definitive no, but I'm going
And
to ask again.
now 12th house is also prisons. It's prisons, hotels. It could be something that has to do with his hotel. that the Trump hotel, maybe we're going to start hearing that and I think that's part of the whole case anyway. I haven't really read it too closely lately, but that could be his hotel. His hotel saves him somehow, and that actually he might have done an Epstein, and maybe he hosted people, and he's got video, or
Mhm.
he's got stuff. He's got dirt on people.
Oh, for sure. Okay,
Mhm.
so I asked him if someone is helping him, and again, I got the 7 of Cups, which is maybe. Is a maybe in the true tarot. If you're pulling it for a yes, no question, it's a maybe. But look at all, yeah, I said 7 of Cups. I want to make sure I said the right thing. Look at all the cups there, all the choices, all the things that are underneath them. So you're absolutely right. I feel like he has a lot of stuff on a lot of people, and
Yes.
that
Got dirt.
might help him in some way.
Yep. And also I wanted to say something about Mercury right on the MC. Now, Mercury is a reporter, and you saw that too in the Gwyneth case. You're going to see a ton of reporters. Jupiter next to Mercury is lots and lots of reporters. Doesn't matter about the degrees. It's just, even if Mercury was like, if there were no planets between Mercury and Jupiter, and Mercury was like down here, it's called the in-betweenity of planets, and it still gets that energy. So lots of reporters, but look at how Mercury is next to the North Node, which is the lie or the alibi. So reporters are reporting on the alibi, but they're not. It looks like they could also be lying too. So there are lots of lies. Pluto is lots and lots. That's sixth house, the court. So maybe they're trying to get to all the lies and they can't because something is sealed, which we know it is, I think, right now. But it also looks like they're making stuff up too.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
and they're going to try, but they're not going to be successful in doing that. So interesting.
I have to tell you, I was reading some of your book and you talked to that about that. What did you call it? Where it's in between? It's called
In-betweenity, yes.
in betweenity. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I love that word. It's just in betweenity. But I was just reading about that. So that's funny that
Yes,
came
and
up.
that is an old concept. I think that is from Vedius Valens, but
Mhm.
I've seen it time and time again. Like, if you see Neptune and Saturn there, you can still combine them even though they're so far apart. And I mean, they are both in the same sign too. So so that can possibly mean something. When I first see Saturn and Neptune, Saturn is cold or black.
Mm.
Neptune is water. So black water
Oh.
might be part of the conversations. Blackwater is a big government contractor. But, I look at cold water, I'm like, how can cold water, like, that's a clue, but I don't really see how
Mm.
that's helping us here. So sometimes I'll go through and just kind of
Right.
combine the planets and see what I get.
Mhm.
So, let's see how many people we made really mad.
Yeah. There's a few that are, and again, like you're saying, and I love how you say that we're going to look at him for what the criminal thing that he's going to be accused of, because really we have to be at a point where, when we're looking at these things, that we don't hate that person that may have done something. We maybe hate what they've done, but you have to kind of keep that the crime separate from the person. It becomes too
Yeah.
enmeshed sometimes.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of supporters of Trump. We
Mhm.
have a lot of supporters of Biden. But let me tell you this: I always remember it's the energy; it's not the person.
Yeah,
And the
beautiful.
harm, and there's been harm that's been done by presidents for some time now, and I see that the U.S. is in Sati Sati, and it's the Saturn Moon transit. And whenever I talk to somebody about their Saturn Moon transit, or if it's coming up, I always tell them and to get to the point about the US, usually means either criminals come into your life or bad people or people that betray you. Okay. So that's what's happening in the US. And that happened actually before Trump. So this is a period of time where people who are not good for the country come in, or they might be good for the country and they are forced to make decisions that are bad for the country. That, I mean, you could say it that way too. But whatever is the case, the country is divided. It's very negative. I think that something's going to happen here where, again, people are going to be outraged again. And so that's really the energy that's in the US right now. And
Mhm.
that is just, it's almost like the universe saying, all right, let's give them something else. Let's give them something else to argue over. So I don't see this as being super clean cut. But yeah, with Saturn moon, moon is your intuition. So if you have like Saturn moon, it shows that you don't have intuition at that moment. You can't really, and I shouldn't say moment. I mean, the worst is about 2.5 years when you don't have it, but the whole thing goes at about 7.5 years. And so I always say that if new people come into your life during that period, have one of your close friends or family that you trust your whole life, let them give you their opinion and really take their opinion to heart because they're not in Saturn moon. You're in Saturn moon.
Ah,
And
good
time
point.
and time again, people just say, I
Mhm.
can't believe I believed him, or I can't believe that that happened. So I don't know. It's something that's happening with the US,
Yeah.
and it's going to go away in a few years. We're not done yet. So, oh God,
So
I
hold on. That's a
hope
positive thing. Hold on. It's gonna go away.
we better get on to the next topic.
Yeah,
But
we better because that's the
okay,
hot topic of the night.
yes, receiving or reserving judgment until I hear evidence. I can't stand this lefty right BS. We either have laws or we don't. Um, Yeah, I think, I have always been, I don't know, kind of in the middle, but I hate the Republicans and I hate the Democrats. I shouldn't say hate, but it's like
Strongly dislike.
dislike. I don't like
Strongly.
the energy, but remember too, there are a lot of smug left, and I think that's what made a lot of people hate the media because the media was just even people who were on the right on the left didn't like the media because they were just always they had this smug delivery. So another
Mhm.
reason that people would people are coming in that are just they're mean, they're nasty, there's just bad energy, but thankfully it ends, it will end. And yeah. So yeah, it's quite a few people coming on here saying things I did not expect. Very interesting. But it is really important for us to see this as energy. People are vessels of energy. You are going to have to deal with bad people and good people, but you might be a bad person to someone else.
Right.
So we never think that. But,
Mhm.
somebody might pick me for a project where I disagree with one of the main part of the leadership. And I might be that person that brought them down thinking that I did the right thing. But so in their solar chart, they'll probably see a Venus, in a square with them and, probably Mars. But you get the idea.
Yes.
It goes both ways. So let's look at his. Okay, that's him in court.
Mhm.
Success. It shows that he is blocking the success of the prosecutor. Okay,
Ah.
so you could easily read it like, nope, he's not going to be successful. But it sure looks like, whoo, there is a war. But there's going to be
Mhm.
something that comes out that's like, mm-mm, you got a good case. Now, remember too, there were some prosecutors that quit back in February. And
Right.
that's also Uranus at the top, okay, because these people quit. So let's see. Yeah, Venus rules the prosecutors and it's conjunct Uranus. So these people, they're they're almost like ex prosecutors, I guess, because I guess they're going to come back and they're at least going to help. And it seems that they're going to be successful from that blue triangle. But,
Well,
Trump,
that's the first thing I thought when you put that chart up. I thought, "Oh dear, look at that
I
triangle. It's
know it's, yeah,
huge. It's
for the people for
magnified."
the people who really want to see justice served and Trump go down, that is worrisome. But for the people who support Trump and like Trump, seeing that card with that, is it Hierophant at the bottom of the stairs laughing? It's
Yes.
almost like you thought you had that case. Think
Yeah.
again.
Well, and that's what concerned me about those cards coming inverted. Like, yes, there's been a lot of planning. The planning card, the laying your burdens down, like everything you got, you're putting it on it. That was inverted. So many of them were inverted, but
Yep.
yet the Hierophant, he was right up and smiling. And so, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
That's the
Um,
kind of the feel that I got too from what you're saying. And again, that
mhm.
triangle is just
Now, Trump's
sticking out.
solar chart in June, okay, this also supports that he's going to actually do okay. Now, this goes to his June solar chart, and so when you have a solar chart, you're going to go from your birth date to the next birth date. So he's
Mhm.
born in June, and this energy lasts until this June. Okay, that's his quote unquote year. That's why I love birthdays, most birthdays, because you get a new chart. You get a new birth chart in a sense, but it's really a solar chart. So anyway, so what we do is we look at the ascendant. He feels like a Sag, and Sag is the sign for American. Okay, and famous American. Look how Moon is in the first house. It also represents the public, the American public, and it's in the first house, which means what's around you that year. Okay, so if you had Mars in the first house, you might have, I mean, maybe you join the military and you'd have a bunch of military guys around you. Or you might go and you're hired for a job and all of your coworkers are men. That would be Mars. With Moon, that's the public, could even be women, and it is trining Mars. Okay, so that's actually good for him. He is it looks like he is opposing the government. Okay, so his moon and sun, it's a complete opposition. But isn't it interesting that sixth house would have so much energy in it, because sixth house means the court? You would think that there'd be something in the ninth too, because the ninth house also means the court.
And
But
his
sixth house,
fortune is in there. The fortune.
yes, yeah, it doesn't show his fortune, but with the sixth house is court matters. Ninth house is the courtroom.
Mm.
Now, Mercury means documents, court documents. Okay. And it shows there's a lot of documents that have to do a lot, meaning Pluto, trine, Mercury, documents. That's a lot of documents. And it's in the second house. So, second house of money or banking documents. And, but
Sense.
now remember, every time you look at the chart, you're like, okay, this person's this and that person's that. But you always have to remember, who is Trump? Trump this year in his solar chart is Jupiter. Okay.
Okay.
And look at that sextile to point of fortune. So that looks like he is going to have some success. I think that's very interesting. There's probably a lot of other things here. I mean, Neptune is the secrets, and remember the in-betweenity rule.
Yeah.
Trump has the secrets,
I think.
and maybe they're
Oh, yeah.
banking secrets. Pluto is lots and lots. Um, Neptune is lots of secrets. But let's look at his open enemy, okay? And that's Gemini. Gemini means a group, can mean two people. So maybe that's the two prosecutors. But we look and see where Mercury is. Mercury looks like that's all successful, but there's going to be something that stops them. Saturn means to block. They are not going to be able to get him for what they were intending on. So that, I don't know, that might be how that plays out. Um, Also, it looks like from the family matters, Uranus is in the fifth, and that sometimes can mean family splits. So they're all split in how they feel.
Mhm.
And, and also, I'm sorry to say that his wife, which would be Venus in this chart, she is probably thinking about divorce. Uranus is right there next to her, and squaring Saturn. Maybe when you want to see a quick divorce, you want to see a trine to something like that. But there's a square to Saturn, which means she's being delayed. She's like, okay, I want to get on with my life, and there's a delay. So that's a possibility because of Saturn. A Saturn square is tough in a solar chart
Yeah.
because oops.
Yeah, and someone said earlier in the chat too, they said that I don't know if they pulled cards or if they looked at the astrology. I can't remember, and I'm sorry, I apologize to whoever said that. But they said something about marital status for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's trying to every year say that, but it does look like it could be, and that's another thing when you see a square like that, it's like the long split or the long divorce. So it's possible that there's just a lot of things that need to be negotiated maybe. So, okay, so I guess everybody's kind of, unless we have any questions or anything, and we've already pulled the chart.
Okay.
I'm never going to forget that Hierophant.
Oh.
One more.
And it almost looks like, I don't know, his face, his whole face, just the face of it. Cause he has kind of that silly grin, that he puts out there a lot. And I just feel like that was his silly grin, kind of thing. Yeah. The Hierophant.
Yeah. And that's him. If I'm not mistaken, Natalie says he is a really well-placed Rahu in his birth chart that brings him a lot of luck and wealth. Not surprised to see that grand trine at all. Interesting.
Yeah, I think she's right.
Yeah, I had to block a couple of people. It's a shame because I do like both. I like to hear both sides, but I don't like when people start calling names and stuff.
Right. No.
I mean, it's
not the place for it.
Oh, CJ wants to pull a card for Biden's mental health. However, I think that might be tapping into Scorpio, which would be getting revenge for doing this chart. We better not stoop to that.
Yeah.
And Trina says Trump is a Gemini, June 14th is his birthday. Thank you. So anyway, all right, so we're going to get to the next chart. And then, okay, so this is the murder chart the crime chart for Bryan Kohberger. And here's something that's very interesting. Remember back in the first few days when we heard about the murder, we didn't know who it was. But when we were looking at the crime chart, we were talking about OJ. There was Mercury retrograde. Not that Kohberger committed a crime like it was alleged that OJ did during Mercury retrograde, but when all of the police and law enforcement, they were gathering evidence, it was Mercury retrograde at that point, and that was the case for OJ too. So everything was a mess. The courtroom was a circus. It was chaos. So, and I was drawing the comparison with that. Plus, you had the black glove. Well, remember Mark Furman? Yes. He was a terrible witness, which was the other thing. Yes. I think Mars was in detriment in the O.J. Simpson trial, but it's definitely the case for the Kohberger trial here. And in the crime chart, as I have said throughout this,
can you enlarge the crime chart? Someone just asked. They just want to see if it.
Let me see. I might be able to.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I have so OJ vibes on this.
Does that make it better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really let me do it. But I circled the important part, and that was Mars. And look at how it squares Neptune. And so that is a police scandal. Okay. So that isn't the actual crime chart for the original murders. So, and I was thinking, I was like, I wonder what Kohberger or I wonder what this policeman is being investigated for. It's something that Internal Affairs is, it's an open case, I guess. So I was thinking, I wonder if it was like,
I did read something that it was about withholding evidence
okay,
from a prior case
okay,
that could have helped the defendant, and he held this evidence for a year before he presented it.
okay. That's interesting because that's why I put murder there next to Neptune, because maybe this was 22 degrees means to kill. So that maybe this is a scandal, Neptune, police scandal, and it might have to do with somebody who killed 22 degrees. So that's why when I saw that, I was like, well, the fifth house is like sexual stuff. But with that 22 degrees, it looks like there was something that happened. It was like a war. Whenever you see like a square, it's with Mars, it's like there's a war between what happened with this murder. So I wonder why it's in the fifth house, though. Maybe it was a murder that happened at a restaurant, or I don't know. So
I think they said, when I read this, that it had to do with a witness,
yes,
but I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a lot of you that I talked to, you're former law enforcement, so you know a lot about this. Kate says, yes, finally. Yes. Okay, so I'm still looking through the Trump comments. Yeah, so okay, we'll pull some cards now based on maybe we should just ask for more information about what's going on behind the scenes.
With the officer, or just in general?
With the officer.
Okay. So what's going on? I'm going to pull his energy from this one then, and then I'll go. Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought up the OJ case, because I'm telling you, this is really giving me OJ vibes, this whole case, especially when I heard about this officer and it came out now. And just when we looked at the trial for him, oh, okay.
Thank you. I know you like that Gwyneth chart. Admit it.
Okay, so the first thing when we're talking about what's coming on, what about this officer thing, and I got obstacles and challenges.
Okay. So
this is his energy. There's some obstacles and challenges, but you're not going to believe the next card with the truth.
Oh.
With the truth. So I feel like that's what happened before. Now, he wants to move on from it, but it's inverted. So I kind of feel like he's trying to move on for that. But
now wait, when you say he, what do you?
Officer.
Officer. Okay.
I tried to pull into his energy, and he's having some obstacles and challenges around the truth, or maybe prior, and he's trying to move on from that. So let me because maybe he didn't do any of that this time, but I really think it's not a good look. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you did it once. So let me just see. So that was where his energy's at.
I'm also seeing Mars square Neptune. That's police photos. So it could show that the police photos went missing because Neptune is photos, and Neptune is go missing. So, and also Mars in Gemini is police communications. So square Neptune, police communications go missing. So that's something. And I thought that was going to be about this case, and that it still could be true, but it could also apply to another case. You know why? Because Gemini is 2. That's 2 cases. That's
Okay.
Mhm.
So the other thing I got was the Hanged Man.
Okay.
And that's seeing from a different perspective, trying to, because so I think that his energy of this officer is he's trying to get people to see it from a different perspective, that I almost feel like he's saying, I didn't do anything this time, but it's just because he has in the past.
He's
without
going down. When I
identification.
see the Hanged Man, he's going down.
Yeah, but he's trying. That's why I said he's trying to move on, but it's just not.
Mhm.
So let's see. The officer, that's what you wanted me to ask. Is he going down? All right, I'm going to ask that.
Well, that's what I got from your last card, with the Hanged Man.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's confirm that then.
I think it's really interesting. I'll let you confirm it. Go ahead.
Okay. Is he going down? Is the officer going down? Yep, I think he is. It's yeah. 2 wands, 2 wands. There's kind of some choices there, some kind of things happening.
Okay.
He's got the 1 wand and he's looking out, but there's the other one behind him. So I'm
2
again, I feel like he's trying to get past it, but I don't know if he's going to be successful in that.
So funny how twins, that like when I see the wand, I see 2, twins. We're gonna see more twin themes in this case. It's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and also Mars in Gemini is angry communications. So that went missing. And if there was a trine with Neptune, I think it would have successfully gone missing, but they'll get them. I think we'll be able to see them actually. The ninth house is also the press, remember? So we're going to see it. We're going to read all about it in the newspaper,
Mhm.
possibly. Although with the newspaper squaring Neptune, that's also like body cam and video, and maybe the press want that video and they can't get that video. So that's also what that could say.
I wanted to ask you too, is there anything in the chart, or where is in the chart, that might indicate that there was more than one perpetrator, that
Yes.
there was maybe more people involved than just him? That's my sense, but I just wondered if there's anything in the chart.
Well, Mars represents the perp, okay? And so and Mars in Gemini, I would say there's a high percentage that there's a group of people involved.
Okay.
And with the trine to Saturn in the 18th, it shows that they know a lone person that is going to commit the crime in the home in the 4th house. So it's almost like they worked in tandem. So that's what I see with that. And then with Mars squaring Neptune, that can show that they didn't get their drugs. They didn't get their drugs, or they didn't get their photos. So I still say it's so interesting too.
Okay.
With this chart, this is the chart for I think Kaylee's last communication with Jack. Saturn is at 18 degrees, which can be the evil degree in crime charts. And when we fast forward to the arrest at his house, Saturn had changed to 22 degrees in the 4th for that chart, which means a killer is in the house. So it's funny that they're those degrees that we look at, and they're both so prominent in the charts that we're looking at here. So the other thing too that I should probably emphasize, when we have a lot of Scorpio, it shows a knife. And you can see in the Delphi chart, there was quite a bit of Aries planets. I believe Uranus was in Aries, which means a gun. And we didn't know until much later that the police, as part of evidence, saw, I guess, in the video, that one of the girls said, "Hey, he's got a gun." So I think
Oh,
it was for a long time, we were trying to figure out what was the gun. So one thing to note when you're comparing charts, I really think that when you see that a lot of Scorpio energy and you see Sun, which is the co-ruler of a murderer, Scorpio is a hidden weapon and it's like a knife.
oh, okay.
A knife is Scorpio, a gun is Aries. It's loud, it's fast, and it's out in the open, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Because my theory of it, and I believe that there is more than one. Definitely believe that there's more than one that is.
Thank you, Christina. I do
Mm,
too. I find it very interesting that a lot of people don't think that he
I
committed
know.
the crime,
Mm,
and I've always had faith in the police. I would say, 90% of the time, you're going to see people who are going to, in good faith, collect evidence and solve a
yeah.
crime. So,
Yeah.
especially with the FBI involved, we're seeing
Mhm.
right now in a case that I'm looking at where the FBI said to the sheriff's office, no, no, it wasn't suicide. You guys might be able to guess which case that is. And so when the FBI is involved, I really, not to say that they're perfect, but
Yeah.
people aren't gonna,
Mhm.
make this up to solve it. Not the FBI. Maybe there's some shenanigans that's going on with the police, but it sure looked like there was some good police work in the beginning there,
Mhm.
trying to find his car and just running down those
Right.
leads. They worked really, really hard. So
Good.
can you imagine like being on the force and
Mm,
really wanting to solve this
right.
crime? Everybody's telling you that that you're not doing your job. That to me seems I'd like to look at their solar chart.
Oh, that would be perfect because I agree with you there. I think that there was so much pressure on them to solve it, and there was so much pressure on that they were a little, just a little, that was the perception that they were just a little group of, a law
Yes,
enforcement. Could they
exactly.
do it? And there was so much pressure to be on that. But I just really feel again with the OJ, the similarities there. Now you have the cop that's coming into question.
Mhm.
They had to send the knife sheath to another laboratory to try to get DNA, which that's kind of strange that, the whole thing about that. I think there's a lot of reasonable doubts that I
Mhm.
kind of feel, and I pulled some cards on it because, it kind of gives me a little pit in my stomach. If you really did do it, I would like to see justice. And if he's innocent, I'd like to see justice as well. But I pulled some cards earlier or at other times when I, go into this, and I
Mhm.
really feel that and we looked at his charts. We looked at that one chart. I really feel like that he is going to, there's going to be enough reasonable doubt that he's
Mhm.
not, that the prosecution isn't going to be successful, if you want to say it that way.
Yes. Wow.
And
So they don't have a strong case.
no, and I question also that some of the things was all built around the car and the pings and stuff like that. I heard someone talking, and I'm just going to throw this out there for the people in the chat too. I heard someone talking earlier in the week, and they said something about his behavior and how possibly he's, maybe like OCD, and that's why he has some, uh, peculiar behaviors around, like, how he
Mhm.
wants to eat and how he sorts his trash and going around at the house so many times. And I don't know, but I just wonder if there's some of that in there, because that was a lot of, I believe, their early evidence was him being in that area continuously. But
Yeah.
being a stalker and having OCD doesn't necessarily make him the killer, if they have no other evidence except for a little bit on the sheath. So I don't know what people are thinking out there. I mean, I think he's involved personally.
Yeah, Mars, well,
Interesting.
I really think that Saturn in this chart is Kohberger. I don't
Okay.
think Mars is Kohberger, and Mars represents the main killers. So I do think
Okay.
that Kohberger is one of them. But you're going to look at this like you're going to look at any other birth chart. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have T-squares. And in this chart, and the T-square shows the main challenge of the person if they have a birth chart. So you identify where that is, and you can see how it's, I don't know, if it's that red triangle right here.
Oh, okay.
So let's say Kohberger is Saturn, which is what I believe. Okay. So this would be the challenge of the chart. Everything was going fine until this guy came in. And because at the apex of the triangle, that shows like the reason for the problem. The reason that it all went to hell was this guy. And not to say that things in your birth chart go to hell, but at certain times they do. And so he is the challenge. So what we do is we look at where the other points are that have to do with Bryan. Well, we've got a square to Uranus. That can be OCD. Uranus is a fast type of thinker, but it also in Taurus shows food. So something that has to do with food. It's weird too, because Uranus in Taurus would be the DoorDash guy. So he might have seen a guy come up. I don't know. They didn't clash. I mean, who's to know? But the DoorDash guy is actually going to be against him because it'll be in court. But then you look over to the other side of the triangle, which tells you again something that brought Kohberger down, and that would be Scorpio. So there's jealousy, there's other people's money. So we've said it time and time again. There could be banking, so food, banking, things that are named garden, organic food, which is did his vegan. So second house, I don't know. I don't think Scorpio is vegan, but
no, probably not. I'm just
no, but I mean, but you're trying to think. There's got to be a signature for vegan, but yeah, you're going to be talking about his food and maybe his bank records. And so all of that is going to bring him down. And Aquarius is, it means engineer, it means electrical, it shows GPS. So his GPS can bring him down, obviously.
Yeah.
It shows wires and also networks. So maybe he was trying to get into their network of friends or something like that. So, but anyway,
definitely.
It is. It keeps giving us more information as the month.
And that's an interesting point too, right there, that as things go on and we get new information, things can maybe make us see it from a different point of view. So even if we say, that this is kind of the thing, as you get more information and things kind of come out, you kind of look at it a little bit different. Because I know last time I thought I really felt like he was the driver or something like this, but then because I kept getting the Chariot card for him and all this kind of stuff, but then I'm like, with a different perspective, I thought maybe he's just the drive-by-er. But I also heard one time when I was doing a reading on him that the student becomes the teacher. And I feel like he was studying all this time and now he wanted to go into the role of this. So I feel like he has a part in planning. And people sometimes think he's, like sometimes there's stuff out there, he's not very smart or this kind of stuff, or boy, he's a dumb criminal. But actually, if he orchestrated this and never went into the crime scene and left any DNA, that doesn't sound like a dumb criminal to me. I don't know. I'm just putting this as just some personal stuff along with some stuff that I get intuitively as well.
Well, every time I look at this chart, I get something new. And with the Saturn there, which if it's Kohberger, 18, evil killer, um,
Mhm.
if that is squaring Uranus, it sure seems like if you're going to look at the problem, quote unquote, with the chart,
Mhm.
um, that is him blocking the evidence. So it seems to me like there's going to be a lot of evidence that will not be admissible. So, and Penny, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Um, so, yeah.
Is there anything like with teaching in there? Because I know one time I heard you say something.
Yes, Jupiter is the teacher,
Okay.
and that's definitely playing a big role there. And but retrograde. So Jupiter retrograde is the teacher that didn't really do well. The screwed up teacher, you know. But what does it rule? That's the next thing. Like, okay, so you see Jupiter in there, and you see the fifth house, and the fifth house could be like, it's in Pisces, and it's like a lot of drinking, and somebody might be on drugs, but what does it represent? So you have to look around the wheel, and you've got to see what Jupiter rules. So Jupiter rules the third house. That's interesting. And the fifth house. So a lot of people were talking about neighbors. It's very possible that the Jupiter Neptune, which is a lot of criminals, could have been local or around them that knew about their parties. So maybe those criminals were tapped in somehow, but third house is local. So we've got, I don't know, we've got a few people here, and it's going to be really interesting on what they have. And I think that and Shelley, I try to be the same way. I just got a new phone, so now I'm taking all these photos and I'm kicking myself. But I mean, I had an iPhone 8. Like I had to get a new phone. But she says I don't have any photos on my phone. I try not to use my phone at all. Don't take it with me when I leave the house. And that statement is like a lot of us, where we're like, we want privacy. I mean, that's what that says. But check this out. There's this case that I'm working on, and one of the neighbors got a call from the police chief, and on her cell phone. And she was freaking out. She was like, how did he know my cell phone number? And I thought, and I had mixed emotions about that, because I'm like, I'm sure the police know all of our numbers. But then I was like, wait, I don't really know the privacy laws for that. So I'm not sure if we should be upset or not. Do we just like throw our hands up and say, well, people are going to know where we are at all times anyway?
Well, we're kind of in that, don't we live in that kind of society? Because they caught him on cameras that were street cameras, the pings off the cell phone towers. It's really hard to kind of go, if you have a cell phone and stuff like that, to kind of go off the grid, if you will.
Yeah.
We are tracked. I mean, it just makes sense.
It does. Like you can't, like if you're leaving your phone and then you go in your car, then people can track you on your car. So you might as well bring your phone. That's how I think of it. But
Yeah.
it just depends on your astrology. If you're going to have problems, the universe is going to find a way that you're going to have a problem with communications if it's in your solar chart. So
It's so fascinating to see, to see the charts, and so many things that you can look at and then go, oh, that's right in there, if you know how to read it, which I don't.
Yeah. RV Keep It Rolling says, Angel Coleman, it's going to be dropped before June at this point. It wouldn't surprise me. So much happened during Mercury retrograde, the last one. So we'll see how that pans out. But it was such a classic Mercury retrograde case when we saw OJ, how they went through all that time, all that confusion, all the chaos, it was like the script was flipped multiple times. And then they brought in new witnesses, and everybody was all excited, and then the witness was terrible, and it was just
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was the worst. And
It really was. It was just one almost, for lack of a better word, cluster after the other. If you watched that trial, it was just one thing after another. Nothing
and it didn't go. It didn't work.
didn't work.
Didn't work. They tried, but that was something else. And if you're interested in that OJ case, I have that on my Instagram at Forensic Astrologer. You don't have to have an Instagram account to look at all my cases. So make sure to go on there. But you'll see that it shows OJ, the whole chart for the crime shows that there was a revenge element, and it wasn't by OJ. So you'll have to check it out. So, yeah.
Okay.
Now, that's in one of my recent cases, so you shouldn't have any problem finding it. And anything else you want to add?
Now I'm just, I don't know. I agree with Angela or Angel in there that the families will be devastated if there isn't justice. I mean, I agree with you on that 100%, but
Yeah.
I just, from everything, when we look at the chart, when we talk about these things, when we compare that to OJ, just what I'm picking up intuitively, I don't think they're going to be successful with him.
No.
Maybe something will come out. Maybe he will have some information on someone else. Maybe he does a deal.
Yeah.
Maybe he saves himself and puts the other people up, because I do believe other people are involved. I don't know. That would be a chart to see. Can you see that? Is he going to make a deal?
Yeah. We could probably see that, but there's also a suicide element too. Saturn is squaring Uranus. So there's a possibility that there might be some type of report that someone tried to commit suicide or something like that. So I hope not. But yeah, will the deal be made? Well, let's see. Contracts, it depends on who you ask in astrology, but contracts are generally the seventh house. So you look at Mars and, like if they make a deal or a settlement.
Okay.
So, yeah, it does look like there's going to be some kind of a settlement because of that trine to Saturn. But you look at this chart, and in every crime chart, you don't always have the devil, but you got Saturn at 18.
Yeah.
And that's and if you have it in your birth chart, you don't have to worry, because sometimes it doesn't mean it's you. It can often mean that your destiny is to fight the devil, and maybe you're high up in law enforcement or something like that. So it doesn't always mean that your birth chart doesn't just show everything about you. It shows what the general themes are of your generation, and who the people around you are, and what they're like, and how you have to deal with them.
Okay.
And sometimes it's very pleasant. Sometimes it's not so much. So anyway, I guess that's all I have, you guys. Thank you so much for, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Thanks so much for looking us up tonight. And thank you, Amy, too.
Oh, it's great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you want, if you're interested in a reading, you can, oh God, my voice just crept out. If you're interested in a reading, go to my description, and I'm going to put Amy's psychic reading, or what do you call your readings?
Well, I mean, I bring in all of it: the psychic, the medium, energetic, energy reading. Yeah.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, everybody. An energetic reading. If you're interested, everybody's asking if you have a channel.
I do, but I haven't done anything on it for a while. And Val told me, according to my chart, don't do anything till April. So
we're going to look at that again.
I listened.
April's tricky. Um, but yeah, because we're getting into retrograde, so we'll look at a good date. We looked at a couple of great charts like court cases. You can look up good wedding dates, when to buy real estate, that kind of thing. And oh, Angel sent me a super sticker. Thank you so much, Angel. And oh, Deanie's on. I talked to Aunt Deanie this week. What a lovely person. And you can, we fear Mercury retrograde. It's just a lot of weather comes in, and I think it's supposed to keep you from going on vacation, from having fun. You're supposed to go back and revise. And one good way is you can call your phone company, you can call your, whatever, water bill, wherever you get bills, and call them and see if they can revise your bill. And I swear it works. Like they'll give off 20. Oh, we don't want to lose you as a customer, more so than on a regular day. So
Yeah, I have a lot of technology type things with Mercury retrograde, just giving me just fits, nothing too bad, but just I'm always aware that, that phone call might not go through or my computer might crash or that's what happens to me.
excuse me. Oh, okay. So Kitty is born with Mercury retrograde, and then I'm going to get off, I promise. But when you're born with Mercury retrograde, it can just show. I mean, there's so many people who were born during Mercury retrograde, and sometimes that you can have great skill with revising things. And people with Mercury retrograde, they can often communicate in a different type of way, and people are like, "Oh, that person doesn't communicate like like we do, our group." So, but they can actually become very successful in what they do. They're good at revising things. So
I know Kitty well. I think that makes sense.
oh, yeah, there you go. Does she like, well, I won't ask. But Mercury retrograde, sometimes they're, really funny, or could be just speaks in a different way. There's quite a few celebrities.
That's what hit me right there. That part, just the way she expresses herself,
Yeah. And
very
you'll
very
see.
intelligent, but just
Yeah.
that's
RVing saying, so Amy, your luck is like mine. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. If it comes to technology and retrograde, yep.
Thank you, TJ. I think as an example, Paris Hilton, she talks in a different way. Sometimes she talks like this, but there's Gemini, so she'll talk younger. But she also, she's talking more now, but you're not comfortable talking so much. You've got more priorities in other ways, aside from the Mercury side. So anyway, it's great to see everybody, and we will be back this week. I got Psychic Roberto, and I don't know how to say it, Roberto. Like, do I say like American or like a?
I think Roberto sounds kind of cool.
But he's a great guy, and he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about a few things. We haven't decided yet, but I think we got like a request to do Nicola Bully, and then I think we're going to do a couple of other ones too. So, the Stephen was Stephen Smith?
No.
Yeah, the one, the Murdoch.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So, yes,
It's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Shelley says Virgo pet sitter, correct? Yes, Virgo are their pets. So that's really interesting too about the Virgo. I just read a chart. I was like, there's a lot of like, do you have pets around you? And she's like, yeah, that's what I do for a living. It's just these charts are just amazing. So anyway, everyone have a great night, and happy early birthday, Amy.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's coming up, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.